And I know we have officers here, and I don't know if cases are going to be called where there's an officer and an alleged victim testifying, but I am concerned about the rule of sequestration. So I'm going to rely upon the attorneys to help me understand which cases may involve multiple witnesses. But for the record, today is May 3rd. This is 8:30 a.m. preliminary hearing calendar. My name is Brad Gardner. I'm the presiding magistrate judge on this case. I'm now going to call a calendar, and when you call, please make the appropriate announcement. Position 1, State of Georgia versus Lamar Amos.
Sergeant Williams.
Okay.
The state will be ready pending the officer's arrival.
Okay.
Your Honor, for Mr. Amos, he is among 7 defendants on this calendar that have not been appointed any attorney at this point, Your Honor.
Oh my goodness.
So as of right now, he doesn't have counsel.
Your Honor, given that it's 7 of them that have not been appointed, and I'm sure counsel has not received anything from our office, can we just reset them?
Is this by for each person, is this by their choice, or is this just they were never appointed?
It's hard to know, Your Honor. They're just cases for which we haven't received an application and there's no order in the record appointing counsel. So I'm not sure the circumstances of each case.
Okay. And I'll tell you, Mr. Brooks, if the person is intent on representing themselves, they have that right, and they'll move forward at their peril. But if it's something where there's been a glitch in the system and this person really wants a lawyer, I will continue the case.
Okay.
For that to happen. But I'll just have to bring up Mr. Amos to discuss that. And please let me know each person that's in that position so that at the end of the call of the calendar, we can bring them up just so we can figure it out. Position 3 is State of Georgia versus Reginald Arnold.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mark Lane with Lister and Holt. I represent Mr. Arnold. I'm ready for hearing.
Okay.
Officer Zambuho. Charge being obstructing a firefighter and fleeing from police officer. I'll stay to be ready pending officer's arrival. If not, then we'll make the appropriate announcement at that point.
Okay, thank you. Position number 7, State of Georgia versus Asia Baker.
Your Honor, Ms. Baker is ready to proceed with the preliminary hearing.
Okay.
I should say we are.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Suh.
As I understand it, the victim on Ms. Baker's case is present on the hit and run aspect of it. Mr. Farmer, is that accurate?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Officer Roddy.
I don't see
The officer's arrival, but as to count position 8 hit and run, state is ready for that if that needs to be.
Okay. And who's going to be the victim in that case, Mr. Farmer?
That was the Baker case. Mr. Haynes is Anthony Haynes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Position number 10, State of Georgia versus Eugene Barge.
Your Honor, for Mr. Bard's defense is ready for a hearing.
Okay.
Officer Lucas. Officer Lucas not present. Mr. Farmer, is there a victim on this case present?
The victim has not logged in, sir.
Okay. Pending officers arrive, say to be ready. If not, then we'll make the appropriate announcement when called.
Okay. Position number 14, State of Georgia versus Ja Bates.
Your Honor, for Mr. Bates, we have a waiver prepared in that case to submit to the court.
Waiver, okay. And is that where Mr. Vincent Bates is the is the victim in that case?
Yes, sir.
So will it be appropriate to allow Mr. Bates to go about his day? And I'll deal with that at the end of the
Council's
call.
representing that as a waiver, Your Honor, then yes.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
On council's representation, it's a waiver, yes, Your Honor. And is there Officer Carl Jones? Officer Jones is not present, so just release Mr. Bates if Your Honor will allow.
Okay. I'll do that now. Just to try to keep everything moving. Uh-oh. Give me 1 second. It's been removed. Position 15, State of Georgia versus Kiera Blackwell.
Officer Mays,
Yes, I'm here.
you here on
Yes, Your
Blackwell
Honor.
case?
Excuse me?
You here on the Blackwell case?
Yes.
State is ready, Your Honor.
Okay,
Defense is ready, Your Honor.
okay. And I'm sorry, I was looking down. Is that your case, Mr. Little?
No, Your Honor, that's going to be Mr. Mark Lane.
Or okay. Position 16, State of Georgia versus Roy Bryant.
Your Honor, Mr. Bryant, he was continued from last week. Defense is ready.
Officer, dismute.
Yes.
State is ready.
She's here. So this is going to be the first case that we hear. Position number 17, State of Georgia versus Edward Cleveland.
Your Honor, David's after discussing with the solicitor's office, we'll be submitting a waiver for the prelim today.
Okay. Do we have any officers or victims on this case?
Officer Tharp, Kenesha Tharp. The victim is present on this case, Your Honor.
And who is the victim?
Mr. Farmer, who's the victim on Mr. Cleveland's case?
It's Dana Matheny.
Okay. I'll just go and release her at the end. Position number 18, State of Georgia versus David Craig.
Officer Lockhart. Officer Lockhart. Is there any officer on the David Craig case? Is there any victims on the David Craig case?
Also, I'm on the phone, Officer Lockhart, not Mr. Brooks.
Okay. Officer Lockhart will be on momentarily. I'll say to be ready when called.
And defense is also ready, Your Honor.
Okay. Position number 19, State of Georgia versus Samuel Davis.
Mr. Davis is one of those that does not have an attorney appointed, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Officer Astrick and Natalie Astrick. Okay, the state will be ready when called, Your Honor.
Okay.
Really quickly, Your Honor. Officer Ask is no longer with the department.
That's CCPD?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Robert Golden, Officer Golden. Okay.
Officer Golden was on yesterday on a case.
Your Honor, when called, we'll make the appropriate announcement. Mr. Farmer, is the victim on this case present?
No, sir.
All right.
Sure. I think from what I recall yesterday, Officer Golden is one of those persons that works overnight. So I know he logged in a little bit later yesterday, coming from work. So maybe he'll log on.
Your Honor, if the court allowed this time, given this is a domestic violence case, the state would ask for a one-time reset. One officer is no longer with the agency and the other officer works overnight.
I will entertain that. I want to get the council situation figured out with Mr. Davis. Just to be candid, I mean, sometimes you got people that they just want to represent themselves, and they don't want to accept representation. And if that's the case and you don't have an officer present, I will entertain a motion for a continuance.
Yes, sir.
Position number 22, State of Georgia versus Martha Dillon.
Yes, Your Honor, Mark Lane on behalf of Ms. Dillon, and I'd request a breakout room to speak with her whenever we get a chance, and also ask Stephen Little from our firm join us in there. We have yet to be able to meet with her. We've scheduled 2 jail visits and they've both been canceled.
Okay.
The state is ready, I believe. I did see Officer Hernandez earlier. Officer
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
State is ready.
Okay. So with Mr. Lane, what I'm going to do at the end of the call of the calendar, I'm going to do the hearing with Officer Dismute so that she can get out of here, and then I'll set up the breakout rooms for you to be able to speak to your client.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Position 23, State of Georgia versus Dana Good Dotson.
Defense is ready, Your Honor.
Officer Singh. Officer Singh was on earlier.
Yeah, I see Officer Singh.
I'm here.
State is ready.
Okay.
Mr. Little, have you spoken to Mr. Dotson?
I have.
Okay. I'll check.
Okay. Position number 24, State of Georgia versus Devin Farmer.
Yes, Your Honor, Mark Lane on behalf of Ms. Farmer, we're ready for hearing.
State is ready. I believe the victim is present.
Yes, sir. Position number 25, State of Georgia versus Derek Harris.
Your Honor, Mr. Derek Harris was originally appointed to the Public Defender's Office. I did speak with him. He wants us to represent him. He must have qualified for an attorney when he was appointed to the Public Defender's Office. But he is on for the misdemeanor today, so we'd be prepared to represent him, but we would submit an appointment order to the court to make sure that we get appointed to represent him to transfer from the Public Defender's Office.
Okay, I will grant that request for appointment. I'll just need you to send over that documentation today.
Yes, sir.
This theft by taking, is it a misdemeanor? Or
That's
was
how it
it?
appears to be charged.
Oh. Okay. So it's just erroneously assigned to the Public Defender's Office.
I think what happened is he had this warrant for theft by taking, and then when he got arrested, he got felony charges during the course of his arrest. But this warrant already existed at the time that he was arrested on those felony charges.
Okay. Okay. I understand. Position number 26, State of Georgia versus Kier Harris.
For Kiera Harris, Your Honor, we have a waiver to submit to the court.
A waiver? Okay.
That's right.
Thank you.
So we release the-
Officers,
May we release the victim on the Harris case, Your Honor? The Kiera Harris case?
yes.
And on the Derek Harris case, I didn't announce for the officer. I'm not sure if that officer is present. Officer Thomas? Officer Thomas, Donda Thomas? Say to be ready when called.
Okay.
And on the Harris case, again, the victim is present. So
I'm going to, that's Miss Kaylee and Miss Matheny. I'm gonna dismiss them at the end of the call of the calendar. Position 28, State of Georgia versus Rodriguez Horn.
Yes, Your Honor, Mark Lane on behalf of Mr. Horn, we're ready for hearing.
is there an officer here on the Horn case?
Officer Keku, College Park.
Okay, state's ready on.
Okay. You. All right. Position number 30, State of Georgia versus Kentrail Huff.
Your Honor,
Scott,
Huff is another one of those cases that is currently unrepresented.
Okay.
Officer Scott.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, state is ready on.
Okay. Position 31, State of Georgia versus Christian Jones.
Officer
That's
Santos.
ready.
Officer Santos.
Looks like he's on.
Tyler Santos.
I'm here, sir.
State's
Okay.
ready.
Okay, that's gonna be here.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Position 32, State of Georgia versus Jeremy Judge.
Officer Whitworth. Officer Whitworth.
And Mr. Judge is currently unrepresented.
Okay.
Mr. Farmer, is there a victim on this case?
No, sir, there's not.
When called, state of be ready or make the appropriate announcement.
Okay. Position 34, State of Georgia versus Jennifer Kimball.
We have a waiver for that case, Your Honor.
Okay, so we can release Ms. Porter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Position 36, State of Georgia versus James Lee.
Yes, Your Honor, Mark Lane on behalf of Mr. Lee, we're ready for hearing.
Officer Nimmons. Officer Nimmons. Officer Nimmons. The state move to non-prosecution or dismiss the warrant, excuse me.
Okay. Is there any objection, Mr. Lane?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. This will be a dismissal. I'm just gonna need Mr. Lane, since this is gonna be your victory, I'm gonna need you to submit the dismissal
Okay.
for my signature. Make sure you share it with Mr. Brooks first.
Okay. Thank you.
Position 39, State of Georgia versus Joseph Lopez.
Mr. Lopez is currently unrepresented, Your Honor.
Okay.
Officer Howard. Officer Howard. Officer Howard. The state of move dismiss the warrant, yeah.
Okay. Dismissal will be granted. But seeing as Mr. Lopez is not represented, I'm going to ask your office to present that to me, Mr. Brooks.
I can do it.
Okay, thank you. Position 41, State of Georgia versus Eric Mitchell.
Officer Reed, Officer Reed. Officer
Yes, yeah.
Reed.
I think I
I'm
see
here.
Officer Reed.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm not sure we received a report for this one.
Okay.
Let's see if this wasn't on the list I got from Mr. Farmer at the solicitor's office. I got to figure out what's going on with this one, Your Honor.
Is loitering or prowling, which has been my experience that those cases generally involve some form of mental illness.
I think these warrants may already be bound over to state court. This is for loitering, prowling, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and contributing to delinquency.
I just have one charge, loitering or prowling.
What's the warrant number for that, Your Honor?
2022 WA 06222.
When I look it up in the case inquiry online, Your Honor, it appears like that was bound over to state court after first appearance on maybe April the 9th.
April 9.
I do show that person out on bond.
Okay. Well, if that person is out on bond, the case should have been bound over. Miss Mary, would you just check the paperwork on that? I'm going to make a note.
I'm checking right now.
And Your Honor, I just searched for them in the jail. It does look like they're out to bond.
Okay.
Can we release the officer again?
Yes.
Officer Reed, your excuse.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Position 42, State of Georgia versus Albert Moore.
Your Honor, we have a waiver prepared for Mr. Moore.
Doesn't look like we have an officer present on that. I don't see a Jarvis Williams.
None logged on at this time.
Okay. Position 43, State of Georgia versus Edward Moore.
Same announcement, Your Honor. We have a waiver for Mr. Edward Moore as well.
Okay. I don't see an officer. Position 50 is Kari Moran or Moraine.
That case is also a waiver, Your Honor.
Okay. Position 52 is State of Georgia versus Jeffrey Nix.
Your Honor, if I could request maybe a minute or two with Mr. Nix, otherwise it looks like we should be ready to proceed with today's hearing.
Okay.
Officer Taylor. Officer Taylor. Stay be ready when called.
Okay. Position 53, State of Georgia versus Edward Pierce.
Yes, Your Honor. Mark Lane on behalf of Mr. Pierce. We're ready for hearing.
Officer T. Mays.
Yes, sir.
Stays ready.
Okay. Position 56, State of Georgia versus Darius Powell. Looks like he's unrepresented.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, position 59, State of Georgia versus Wellbon Salam or Salim.
We have a waiver prepared for that case, Your Honor.
Okay. And I don't see an officer Hussey. All right. Position 61, State of Georgia versus Azim Samuels.
Your Honor, that will be we'll be submitting a waiver for Mr. Samuels.
Okay. Position 63, State of Georgia versus Yoon Sin.
Currently unrepresented, Your Honor.
Okay.
And that should be the last of the cases on the calendar that don't have attorneys.
Okay. Position 64, State of Georgia versus Andreas Solaris or Sholaris.
Your Honor, unfortunately, I attempted to meet with Ms. Solaris, but unfortunately that visitation never occurred. I would request a chance to conference.
Okay. Position 66, State of Georgia versus William Smith.
Apologize, Your Honor, same announcement. Tried to make a visitation multiple times and none of them went through. If I could request a conference.
Okay.
Officer Huff.
I'm here, sir.
Sandra.
Okay, position. Okay, position number 68, State of Georgia versus Darnell Taylor.
Mr. Taylor was previously appointed to the Public Defender's Office. I did speak with him, though. He must have qualified for an attorney when he got appointed to the Public Defender's Office. He's on for this case for a misdemeanor. And we'd be prepared to represent him. We're ready to go forward.
Okay, just present the appointment order and I'll sign off on it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Officer Santos.
I'm here, sir.
Sandra.
Okay. Look like Miss Stallings has jumped back in. Hold on. Miss Stallings, I need you to go back into breakout room number 7.
Okay.
Can you do that? Or do you need me to place you?
Can you place me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's see. Okay, ma'am, you should have received the link where you can, there you go. And Miss Matheny. Miss Matheny, ma'am, can you hear me? Miss Matheny? Miss Matheny. Ma'am, can you hear me? You're not muted. Okay. Well, Miss Matheny, I am going to assume that you can hear me. The case that you're here for, that case is going to be resolved, so you do not need to stay on. So I'm about to remove you, ma'am. And if you need any further guidance, feel free to speak to Mr. Farmer. Okay, position number 69, State of Georgia versus Tatiana Thomas.
Officer Farley. Officer Farley.
Stephen, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor, that is a waiver.
Okay. Thank you. Could we have Officer Farley? I did not hear an announcement. Okay. Excuse me. Position 70, State of Georgia versus Destiny White.
Your Honor, Miss Destiny White is ready to proceed with the preliminary hearing.
Ready on.
Okay.
President case.
And that's Miss Vinnie Quas. All right. Finally, position 71, State of Georgia versus Tracy Young.
That case is a waiver, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, So how